Maclunky.
Hello, Star Wars Unlimited players. GrumpyElephant here with Maclunky Gaming, joined by a couple of familiar faces. We have our very own resident swoop player at sea. It is Pasqwalle. Pasqwalle, how's it going?
Oh, great. Another late night here, sailing to Portugal, but excited for spoiler season.
Yeah, joined also by our ace in the hole, Tyler. Tyler, are you ready to talk about some new cards?
Oh boy, am I so excited.
Well, we are here with 3 exclusive card reveals for you all from the upcoming Star Wars Unlimited set, Homeworlds. Super excited to talk about them. 3 cards from Maclunky Gaming, all from a familiar team that we're excited to revisit. We've seen their cards before, but let's take a look at what show these cards hail from.
The cavalry has arrived!
All right, now to start off our bad batch, we have our first card, which is Wrecker. Wrecker is a 6-cost heroism unit with 6 attack and 6 defense, and it says when played, each player may choose a unit they control, and then you deal 3 damage to each chosen unit. So Wrecker has fallen from grace from his original form as a 7/6, when played deal 5 damage, overwhelm with ECL, and now we're left with this 6-cost 6/6. No real way to give it ambush, but I do think it will be a decent limited piece. Some removal, even if you have to put it as a 6/3, some decent stats. We're always looking for ways to deal damage in limited and maybe win some board back late game. So I think it'll probably have a home there. But unfortunately, it has quite the fallen from grace from Shadows of the Galaxy Wrecker. Any other thoughts from you two?
Yeah, that 6 cost really showing a lot there. I feel like we've seen some impactful 6/6 for 5s make a splash in Premiere, and so if Wrecker had ended up as this 6/6 for a lower cost 5 or even 4, I'd say he definitely has a chance to make an impression. I think you're exactly right, Pasqwalle. 6/6 for 6 means we'll likely see him show up in drafts and potentially sealeds as well. That floor of a 6/3, throw 3 damage, definitely something that's useful to draw late game, but hard to imagine a home for him with just how fast and how powerful our Premiere format has gotten.
Yeah, we can take a close look of, the other classic 6-cost deal 3 quote-unquote damage in Anakin Skywalker, the normal blue aspect 5/7 for 6 that gives -3/-3, and all you have to do is just have played your normal deck curve and you'll get that effect. This does it while being honestly, I think, a worse stat line. The equal 6/6 is a lot worse than the 5/7. Not many things have 6 health you need to trade into. Most of the lower curve is 5. And the biggest issue is that you have no control of the ability. Your opponent gets to choose where the damage goes, and you also are getting affected by the same way. We will maybe see it in limited, but it will require there to be significant reason to wanting to damage your own units, and also the fact that units will have to be more of the X3 type of stat line, because if you just get a lot more X4s like we have current Premiere and stuff, this doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and it's competing with some incredible 6-cost units that we've seen so far, depending on the shell you're in. Vernestra Rowe, Hunter from the other day. There's a lot of competition in the 6-cost slot. Even Captain Rex as another 6-cost 6/6, but that has Temporary Sentinel. That is a behemoth. So yeah, there's just a lot of competition in this slot, and this is a little bit lackluster for Premiere for sure.
Well, it turns out Wrecker pretty slow on the ground, but is able to get places much faster when he flies in the infamous Bad Batch ship. So let's take a look at our next card, the Marauder. Our 7-cost 5/7 command heroism vehicle in the space arena with a little bit of a new text box. While playing this unit, you may choose any number of friendly units. Deal 1 damage to each of them. For each unit chosen this way, this unit costs 1 less. So the dream scenario, somehow you have 7 units, you get essentially a free 5/7 in the space arena. I see from our expressions, we're not feeling thrilled about this card. What do you guys think?
I definitely don't like it. It is more of a value for win play. Maybe I could see the card perform better once we've rotated off of this current meta with JTL pilots and space being dominated already. A 5/7 is a pretty good stat line, but you're already going to have to play probably 2 1s on first turn, then 2 more units, and then you're then hoping to get it off on the third resource turn for 4 resources, which, hey, 4 resources for a 5/7 is very strong, but setup required to do that is immense, and you don't really necessarily need just a big hitter in space. A lot of cards already have bonus effects, and just a stat body I don't think is necessarily needed.
Yeah, I think it's hard in general in any arena to play a vanilla unit, right? And this is essentially what this is. It's just how fast are you going to get it out. We've seen similar techs of large ships that have hoops to jump through to get them in sooner. Some of those even had decent when played effects. They were just very expensive. And this has no immediate impact on the board. So even if it comes in early, if you go, just curve out and then are able to damage 3 units to play this early, how much is it going to do for you? It's tough to imagine. But again, in limited, I mean, we're always in the mood for a chunky space unit, even if you played on 6 resources, ping your leader. A 5/7 in space and limited that can stick around for a while is always going to be something to consider. So again, this might show up in your sealed pools and your draft pools. But again, Premier, a little too slow, I think.
Yeah, for both of these cards, I think to have any hope to make any kind of splash outside of limited, we'd need to have some really incredible reasons for you to want to damage your own units. Turns out our last card offers one such reason. Alone might not be enough to bring these cards into the meta, but if we can assemble enough of these effects, now we're talking. Let's take a look at tech. Tyler, walk us through what tech does.
Tech is the golden stat line that we've come to see in this game. It is a 3 cost 3/5 that when this unit is dealt damage and survives, you may exhaust a unit. I love that the effect is universal. I love that we can hit ground in space. I also love that it is not just, use this once per turn. So you really just want to find some way to have repetitive damage happen to this unit and then be able to exhaust your opponent's whole board. My biggest issues and gripe with tech, though, is its aspects. It is a yellow heroism, which currently, right now, there's not many decks in the current meta that really can support a 3/5 that will get value when you swing into your opponent's unit, unless you have other things that ping it, which, besides the cards we just shown, there's not much like support for that in the current meta game. You have most likely a Lando, going back to Lando Lake, that would want to play this card, but even then I'm just playing it for its body. Same as like Han 1 in Eternal. You just want to play it for its body. The hopes is that we'll eventually be able to find it. And I know that Grumpy, I know you have some cards that maybe will be able to benefit from this.
So we took a look at the current Premier legal pool to see what, if any, cards might be able to synergize with tech, be able to exhaust your opponent's units in either arena sort of on your own terms. And we found 3 that, while not incredibly promising, might be worth playing around with. Let's take a look. So the first is Staccato Lightning Repeater, a 3/1 upgrade in Aggression Heroism for 3. You attach it to a non-vehicle unit, and you're able to deal 1 damage to 3 different ground units. So one of those 3 damage could go on tech, and you'd essentially simultaneously get an upgrade, distribute 2 damage across your opponent's units, and exhaust a third opponent's unit. If you want to get a little more clever, a little more creative, do something like an IG-2000 in Django impression, you could play the Heavy Blaster Cannon, +2/+2 for 4 attached to a non-vehicle unit. This one lets you do 1 damage to a single unit 3 times. All 3 of that damage could be delivered to tech. It has that 3/5 stat line, likely to survive. And so for 4 resources, you get this upgrade, and you essentially exhaust 3 of your opponent's units across both resources. And then potentially slightly slower, but more reliable, we have 8d8, that 1/4 droid for 2 with hidden. As an action, you deal 1 damage to a friendly unit, and then search the top of your deck for a card. Being able to sort of repeatedly damage tech, add cards to your hand, will simultaneously slowing down your opponent's board presence, potentially the kind of longer-term value proposition that could see some play. Pasquale, do any of these cards move you?
Out of all of them, it might be the 88. I mean, typically the aggression, cunning, heroism, color pairing is pretty aggressive. So I don't think you want to kind of exhaust and play this attrition game with the other upgrades. So I don't know if that all fits together. But if you jump into command, then you are looking for a little bit more of a longer game, trying to get to Liberty, the Mandalorian on the ground to ambush. So there is a world where you would want to find those units off of 88, ping the tech, exhaust a unit. Tech could even trade into a turn one play, exhaust something later. So there may be something there, but we need a leader or something to tie it all together. So for now, it is again just a 3/5 for 3 that we love to see with a decent effect. It's not awful, especially because can go cross arena. We just need something to tie any of this self-damaging together. We haven't seen it yet in Homeworlds. At least while we're filming this video, it could happen in the next day or two. But as of now, there's nothing tying this together for me to create a deck that I'm seeing. Again, these are all just pretty good limited cards at the end of the day as well. I think tech is going to be pretty annoying in limited. Having the premier stat line with an exhaust effect can exhaust leaders. So there's a lot here, I think, for the limited pool of Homeworlds.
Tyler, any closing thoughts?
Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of these cards were probably stronger in design and definitely got tinked down. Tech is, I think, pretty great overall, but for uncommon stand-ins for the other two, I would have liked to see a little bit more stronger abilities, stronger effects, more I get the ability to choose and not your opponent choose. But the rest of the start cards out of the Homeworlds look great. I'm pretty excited for this set coming out, and I can't wait to see how it plays in Premiere.
Well, we look forward to drafting our Marauders, Wreckers, and Techs with all of you, and look forward to seeing what we can all cook up for Premiere. This has been Maclunky Gaming, bringing you our Homeworlds card reveal. Have a great night.
Pasqwalle here, from the future. Remember how I just said it felt like we were missing a leader to tie all of this damage effects together? Well, today we got one. Cham Syndulla is an aggression heroism 6 deploy leader that's a 3/8 that says when a friendly unit or base is dealt non-combat damage, you may exhaust this leader to deal 1 damage to an enemy unit or base, and when deployed has the same effect that is not once per turn. So all of a sudden, the cards we just previewed make a little bit more sense. Now, we didn't have access to Cham when we previewed these, but after seeing them today, we wanted to add a little extra onto this video and give you an initial take on a Cham Syndulla Vigilance deck to take, some of these ping effects and throw them into a little bit of an aggressive strategy. So Paige Tico seems like an absolute monster when you can get her on one of your spaceships, because she will ping the spaceship and give it an experience, and then that'll let you throw a damage somewhere. War Juggernaut on the flip turn seems like an absolute behemoth, pinging the entire board, and then it lets you double up on that ping for every unit on your side that you damaged. There's a lot of really interesting interactions here. Marauder, even off aspect, can easily be played for just the 7 it cost. Now it gets a pseudo when played effect to deal damage to your units, to deal damage to your opponent's units or base, which can finish it off. The side deck are just some more options of pinging effects and strong cards in these colors. So I think there's a lot to explore with Cham, and it also gives these units a home in limited in a Cham Syndulla deck. And if you have tech, it makes sense in a cunning list for limited. Doesn't really make sense in Premiere yet, I can't see it. But with Vigilance, you get some access to some really interesting stuff. So I just wanted to throw this together to say that, hey, these units are a little bit better now and they have a home. So keep exploring and enjoy the rest of spoiler season. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching and supporting Maclunky Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.